Hey everyone, U.S. Army officials traveled to Kyiv for the hottest new Kojima release, Metal Gear Ukraine Peace Talker. The market is waiting to exhale ahead of Nvidia earnings, and we're best buds with Saudi Arabia now? Anyways, welcome to another episode of This Week So Far. Yes, welcome back everyone. Our first story today, Ukraine talks are re-energized by U.S. military leaders. Basically have two senior U.S. Army officials traveling to Kyiv, meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky and Ukrainian commanders in an effort to reboot stalled peace negotiations with Russia. That's right, peace is potentially back on the table, boys. We'll see. Essentially signals a pivot in U.S. engagement from weapons and aid to maybe diplomacy and stability efforts. That's kind of a nice swap. And there's some broader political and geopolitical implications: energy, regional security, refugee flows, global markets. I don't know if any of those are ringing a bell for you. Key takeaway, though, we should keep watching the Ukraine-Russia dynamics because they continue to ripple far beyond just the battlefield. And for goodness sake, can we please just give Ukraine a break? Please. In our second story today, the markets are treading carefully ahead of major tech earnings. So global stocks essentially pulled back a bit in cautious trading ahead of the earnings reports from big bad Nvidia Corp. Their stock is frequently used as a sort of temperature gauge these days for AI investment sentiment. You know, how's everybody feeling about spending money on AI? Well, how's Nvidia's stock doing? There's your translation. Why does this matter for you? Well, it may not matter directly to you, but tech and AI both remain key growth drivers in the American economy right now. Some of the biggest growth drivers, some of the only growth drivers, as tariffs do nonsense and create all sorts of fun stuff. Key takeaway here, watch the earnings and maybe we'll learn something. We might see some strength coming out of this, or maybe there's some cracks in the armor. We'll see what the AI boom narrative looks like on the other side of this. At the same time, Larry Summers, also announced he would resign from the board at OpenAI amidst Epstein-files revelations. Goodness gracious. If you're in the Epstein-files, you deserve what you have coming to you. Although imagine if the Epstein-files actually caused the AI bubble to burst. That'd be kind of ridiculous. But the AI bubble is definitely younger than 18, so it would fit the pattern. And that's when you can't even apply the Megyn Kelly logic to. In our main story, Saudi Arabia has been elevated to major non-NATO ally by the U.S., and some huge deals have been signed, which is wild. If you're scratching your head a bit here, same. Remember when we used to avoid deals with like First Amendment crushing authoritarian regimes? Honestly, at this point, I'm not even sure if Pepperidge Farm remembers. So here's the story. The U.S. under Donald Trump formally designated Saudi Arabia a major non-NATO ally. Basically, we just inked a major agreement, including a couple of things. Civil nuclear cooperation, fascinating. AI partnerships, I don't think anyone is surprised there. And then planned sales of F-35s and 300-ish Abrams tanks. That's some firepower that we're handing over. So why does this matter? This reshapes U.S. Middle East security architecture in a meaningful way, signals deeper economic and defense ties, and also may affect global arms flow. That is fairly significant, especially if you've ever seen the movie Lord of War, another Nick Cage classic. Regional balances, this is another one that kind of is significant because this flows and affects Israel. And then investment patterns in general related to the Middle East likely will see some shifting on the other side of this. Anyway, so I guess we're bedfellows with Saudi Arabia, which is fascinating. I wonder how much of the movie Hidalgo still reigns true. Anyway, so the strategic upgrade with Saudi Arabia will have waterfall effects, ripple effects across geopolitics, trade, and technology. Now, the real reason that I call that our main story is because Saudi Arabia is not known for being proponents of First Amendment rights, civil liberties, things like that. And in particular, they really don't like journalists or critics of any kind. Yeah. You remember Jamal Khashoggi? Yep. So that was the moment that basically Saudi Arabia said, Diplomatic immunity. Diplomatic impunity. So Khashoggi walked into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul to get his marriage paperwork, okay? And Saudi officials basically treated it almost like the Jigsaw Killer's DoorDash order. One critic prepared and packaged for pickup, and yes, in both slices and chunks. Then Turkey leaked the audio like it was some sort of mixtape, charting miles above anything I've ever released. Saudi Arabia's first defense, though, was, oh, Khashoggi, yeah, no, he's not here. He left. Which, may have been believable if they hadn't just flown in a 15-man hit squad and a guy whose literal job title was forensic autopsy specialist. Like, those aren't the folks you bring for marriage paperwork. Then their story shifted. It was, oh no, died in a fistfight. Okay. Fistfight in a consulate with 15 dudes and a bone saw. You're just missing the Brazzers couch and you've got Hannibal Lecter's OnlyFans account. Eventually, everybody knew that MBS approved it, and the global reaction was, we'll call it brief, to say the least. World leaders basically, talked amongst themselves. They put on the show of, oh, we're deeply concerned, but then in the background, they immediately were like, how many barrels of oil do you think we can get out of this, huh? So now, in 2025, we've just upgraded Saudi Arabia to major non-NATO ally, which feels like the State Department is basically saying, look, murder is bad, yeah, but have you seen these defense contracts, huh? So if morality is a sliding scale, we have slipped straight into the oil-slicked ninth ring of hell. It's terrible. So Khashoggi's killers basically got secret trials, MBS got a geopolitical promotion, and the world got whatever the opposite of closure is. So that's the recap. Journalists got butchered, killers basically got bonuses, and the rest of the world got gas prices under $4. Great, and it is only Wednesday. All right, thanks for watching another episode of This Week So Far. We'll see you on the weekend.